Parents expect their kids to come home safe from school, but for many families in this country, the threat of a school shooting is a very real fear. Now some districts are turning to panic buttons, technology designed to instantly alert police during a threat. One system has already been credited with saving lives. Our Heather Graff shows us how it works and why experts say it's just one part of making schools safer.
It was September 4th, 2024. Gunfire erupted at Appalachia High School in Barrow County, Georgia.
I saw one of my classmates on the ground bleeding so bad.
Students shaken as parents feared the worst.
Parked my car probably a mile away and literally ran to the school.
And at the end of that deadly day,
can you tell me if the shooter is still active? Is it still active?
4 killed, 9 injured, and a 14-year-old in custody after yet another school shooting in America.
My heart hurts for these kids.
Yet Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith also said lives were saved here in part due to the school's new alert system that launched just a few days prior.
All of our teachers are armed with a form of an ID called Centegix. And Centegix alarms us and alerts the law enforcement office after buttons are pressed on an ID, and it alerts us that there is an active situation at the school for whatever reason.
The technology he's talking about is essentially a wearable panic button. This one made by a company called Centegix, and you can see it looks similar to an ID badge, but there's a button built into the back of the card. The idea is that a teacher would click the button 3 times in situations such as a medical emergency, in which case on-site school administrators would be notified. But clicking the button 8 times indicates a worst-case scenario like a mass shooting and triggers campus-wide alerts, plus real-time notifications to school resource officers and local law enforcement. Those alerts also include GPS data designed to pinpoint the exact location of a threat down to the hallway. And authorities say that's what happened at Appalachia High School, where SROs quickly confronted and detained the alleged shooter.
This type of technology absolutely helps to mitigate risk and loss.
Lori Alhadeff runs a nonprofit called Make Our Schools Safe. That advocacy work fueled by agony following the 2018 massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida.
Alyssa was shot 8 times, and she was in the direct line of fire, unfortunately.
Lori's daughter, Alyssa Alhadeff, was one of 17 victims in that shooting, gunned down in her 9th grade English class.
She was only 14 years old when she was murdered. She should be in college right now.
It's why Lori, in the years since, has fought for better safeguards for students and teachers, including panic buttons or silent alarms. In fact, that's the goal of Alyssa's law, which requires or encourages panic buttons in schools. To date, Lori says 7 states have approved versions of the bill that bears her daughter's name.
Time equals life. So knowing that they have their panic button, that they could push it and get a law enforcement there, I think is so extremely important.
And even in the absence of a state mandate, some schools, like Appalachia High, have implemented panic buttons on their own.
Do you think this approach is gaining traction in light of the shooting in Georgia?
I think it absolutely did.
Experts say that's almost to be expected after a high-profile school shooting because families and school leaders are desperate for solutions. A recent Gallup poll found 44% of U.S. adults with a child in kindergarten through 12th grade say they fear for their child's safety at school.
They're investing in what I call the shiny object syndrome.
Ken Trump, no relation to President Donald Trump, is a school security expert based out of Ohio.
So we have a big job here.
And Dewey Cornell is a professor of education at the University of Virginia who spent decades researching school safety.
I understand that once a shooting has occurred, that seconds matter.
In your opinion, do these panic buttons make schools safer?
There's absolutely no evidence, research or otherwise, that a panic button is going to prevent an incident from happening, and that's where we need to make our focus.
Let's try to reduce the likelihood of a shooting as well.
And so we asked them both.
How do schools strike that balance?
Well, schools need more resources and emphasis on preventive measures.
Cornell recommends every school has its own behavioral threat assessment team that works to identify students at risk of committing violence and then intervenes to get them help. That approach currently required in the 10 states you see here.
Rather than hit the panic button, I'd rather identify a problem and have a counselor, a psychologist, others work with that young person long before they bring the gun to school.
And Ken Trump maintains no technology is more valuable or effective than an alert campus community and a well-trained staff.
Educators need to be communicating with parents, students, and staff. See something and say something, but also train people to do something once somebody reports.
As for L'Oreal Hadef, she believes the answer is perhaps all of the above.
We have to remember school safety is a layered approach.
And plans to continue pushing for panic buttons. Because when a shooter showed up at her daughter's school, she feels more layers of protection were needed.
I would love for every state for it to be mandatory, and knowing that every time that panic button is pushed, Alyssa is saving lives.